Hello, everyone. I'm Jasmine, the Global Business Development Director of Mercan Group, and as usual, I will be the host today. Welcome, everyone, to Mercan Live webinar, where we will be hearing the most updated information and opinions from IAS and Mercan after the 19th of July. A week has passed with everyone knowing that the deadline is becoming so close and real. Will there be any chance for investors on this last call? Will we have enough time to submit the application to Immigration Services before the signature of the president marks the end of the real estate investments under the Golden Visa program? So our guest speaker today, Ines Mura, the General Manager and lawyer at IAS, Jordi Villanova, the president of Mercan Properties, and Jerry Morgan, the founder and CEO of Mercan Group of Companies. They will share with us their opinions. All of your questions you already sent to us through Nomads will be addressed directly to IAS and Mercan. So now let's take a look at the streamline since February until now. 5 months after the approval of the first versions of the More Housing Bill by the Council of Ministers, on 19th of July, this proposed law was finally approved at the Parliament. The Golden Visa program is confirmed to be continued for some categories. However, investment relating to the real estate for residential and rehabilitation purpose, as well as the bank deposits, will be eliminated after the president signs the bill. Everyone would want to hear a summary about the Golden Visa program in the recently approved bill. So Ines, can you please share with us what it says in the proposal law, in the approved law regarding all the Golden Visa applications?
Hi, Jasmine. First, thank you for having me and for inviting IIS to provide these clarifications. Of course, more than happy to. So the bill since the 16th of February till the 19th of July, when it was finally approved by the Parliament, underwent a great deal of change. So the final version really does not relate to what exactly was presented in the beginning. We had a very, very significant change in what was the initial version and what we have today. So the Parliament approved the final version of the More Housing package that has a number of proposals regarding many, many matters under Portuguese law. One of them is the Golden Visa program. As we expected, the Golden Visa program, according to the wording of the current bill approved by the Parliament, indeed restructures the RE program, the Golden Visa program in Portugal. This restructuring did not, unlike many people anticipated and the government initially indicated, did not end the Golden Visa program. The Golden Visa program will continue in Portugal. However, some categories, as you indicated, will no longer be included in the future possibilities of investing in Portugal under the Golden Visa program. But the first thing that we need to understand is right now, it's very early to conclude that this will be the final version of the law to be approved. Why? The law was approved by the government, but as we know, the Parliament, the government, and the remaining political parties do not have the power to change the law by themselves. First, the President of the Republic needs to analyze the More Housing package and check if it complies with both the Constitution and the laws and regulations that govern the Portuguese immigration regime. So what we have right now is a law presented to the President of the Republic, or that will be presented to the President of the Republic in the coming weeks, and that states that real estate investments in residential and rehabilitation and the rehabilitation of properties will no longer qualify for Golden Visa purposes. So the investment under these categories will no longer allow the applicants to obtain a Golden Visa. Okay, so this is the first point of the law. Nevertheless, there is no retroactivity. So even if this is the final wording of the law, like I said, we have no way of telling that this will be the final wording, but if this is the final wording, all applications submitted until the date of the entry into force of this law will continue to be valid. A second very relevant point is that nothing changed for family members. So family members will continue to be allowed to be included in the applications that are submitted up until the entry into force of this law. So nothing changes for family members. And the second thing is both permanent residency and nationality, citizenship, will follow exactly the same principles as before. So the amendment to the Golden Visa Program, even if it comes into force the way that the Parliament approved it, will never put into question the possibility of family members joining the application of the main investor, or the possibility of any of the applicants in the Golden Visa Program to access permanent residency or citizenship. So first and foremost, the Golden Visa Program will continue. Okay. Second, the possibility to include family members did not change and will not change, at least under the current law. We have no indication otherwise. And nationality and permanent residency continue to follow the same rules. So everything will continue to be the same until the law is presented. And even if the law is presented and approved as we know it today, it will never affect this kind of rights, nor the rights of the individuals, the applicants that were submitted up until the entry into force of the new law. Okay, so no retroactivity effects, which is, I believe, very good news, very good news. We knew the program was going to be restructured. We believe that even if the program is restructured as presented today, there are still options, but in any case, there is no retroactivity. All effects will be duly safeguarded as per they should be in a state of law. Okay.
So that's great to hear. But then it comes a bigger question. So assuming that the approved bill that was approved by the Parliament is sent to the office of the president. So when will you think that the bill will be signed by the president? Any day, 3 weeks, 1 month, or 3 months?
Well, Jasmine, if I knew that, I would probably be playing in Euro Millions and getting my my responses some other way. What we know today is the following. This is a very, very, very complex bill, very complex bill, very complex law. All the opposition parties, except the far left parties, voted against it. So it's a law that doesn't have any consensus on it other than the government and the far left parties. Okay, even the government changed their mind about the Golden Visa Program very recently. So all of this is something that gives the president a lot of food for thought. That's the first thing. Second thing, just looking at what is a straightforward approval of a law this complex, we have the following in the next week. So tomorrow we will have a committee that will oversee the drafting, the final drafting of the law, to make sure that what was approved in the Parliament is what is sent to the president. This takes some time, so we anticipate that the law will only be sent to the president during next week. Okay, so the law hasn't even been sent to the president. There isn't even a final law set and ready to be sent to the president, because this committee, this specific committee, only gathers tomorrow. Okay, after that, once the law is sent to the president, we have a few things to consider. First, we are in a holiday period in Portugal. So August is the time where the parliament does not work. So the parliament is already in recession right now, and will only come into functions again in September. And the same thing, the president of the republic also does holidays in August. Third thing, like I said, very complex. There are especially two matters that are really, really complicated and tricky, and that will require special attention. One, as we know, is the mandatory renting of houses. Apparently, the government doesn't relate to Golden Visa, but intends to force owners to rent the houses in certain circumstances. And second, as we know, is alojamento local, meaning the Airbnbs. So the changes to these two regimes are so deep and so drastic that the president will have special attention to these two matters. Since we are talking about a single bill, okay, this will most likely have one of two effects. Either the president sends the bill to the Constitutional Court, and then the Constitutional Court will have the legal deadlines to issue their opinion on any matters that are presented before them, before the judges, okay? And this will halt the process entirely. Or the president, since he is a constitutional law professor, will look at it himself, okay, and make a judgment about it. At the end of the day, the president can wait for the feedback for the Constitutional Court, and then, according to that feedback, make a judgment call on the law. Or if he analyzes the law himself, he can decide to either publish it or send it back to the parliament if he has doubts, serious doubts about the law itself. Okay, so it's not an easy process. It's not a complex process. This housing package is probably the biggest law package that we've had in Portugal in the last years. Its effect on the society is profound. So the analysis of this document, there is no indication that it's going to be swift and fast. I can give you an example. We had a law passed recently about Ubers in Portugal. It took the president 3 months to publish it. We had a law that related to competition between professionals. It's called the law of the bars, and it took the president also nearly 3 months to have it published. Okay, so when the matters are complex, the president takes its time to analyze this. Our best estimate, it's still a very conservative estimate, because as you may imagine, we prefer to be conservative on these matters than being just too optimistic in terms of deadlines. So our best estimate is the 15th of September, middle to end of September, if the president is a lot faster than he has been on the past on matters such as this. Okay, if the president decides to send the law to Constitutional Court or sends it back to Parliament, then this deadline will increase exponentially. We will, of course, be following up as best as we can weekly with the corresponding stakeholders on these matters to try and anticipate the best that we can. A final note on this is there is not a scenario where a law is published from one day to the other. Okay, the process, even when the president is okay with the law and publishes it, it still needs to be sent back to Parliament. Okay, and then after being sent back to Parliament, it is indeed published. So there is always the possibility of having 3 to 4 to even 5 days of notice before this happens. So no investor should be surprised from one day to the other with the law coming into force. Okay, so basically it's a complex process. We've been saying this from the beginning. We started on the 16th of February. We are close to the end of July, and we are still very far, in my opinion, from having both a stable law and a law that is published. Okay, so it's important not to make, I've been saying this from the beginning, it's important not to make long-term decisions based on short-term situations. And this is what we have right now, situations that should be managed on a weekly basis, but that we don't anticipate right now that we are any close to having a final bill published in the next weeks at all.
It seems like this is a continuous wrestling from February until now to take this bill becomes law.
Yes, it's a normal process in Portugal. Laws take time, as they should, because as every big decision, they should be analyzed from all points of view. And just the evolution that the law had since the first announcement in February till today proves exactly that. So we have no idea what the final wording will be. We have the information now, and we need to make decisions based on the information that we have. But we also know that it's going to take a while to have the law ready to be published, and the President of the Republic with his analysis made and the certainty that this law complies with the Portuguese Constitution.
So as you mentioned on the slide, even with the option 1, the law shouldn't come into force before the middle or the end of September. So yes, based on your experience and the speed of work of IAS lawyers right now, will all the investors have enough time to submit their application?
Yes.
Until then?
Now, yeah. For sure. Right now, our processing time in average ranges from 1 week to 10 days, okay, between onboarding a client and submitting the file. Of course, this also depends on the client being fast enough to do the transfers, to present the documents for submission. But right now, we are not in a situation where we would advise clients not to proceed. Actually, this is the moment to proceed, because what we gathered in terms of conclusion from the process so far is that, like I said in the beginning, yes, the Golden Visa program will continue, but at the end of the day, if the law that we have is the one that was presented, approved in Parliament, it will be more expensive to invest in Portugal, okay? So there is no reason for people not to do it while they can, while they are safe doing it, because right now the cards are on the table on the worst case scenario, which is the law that we have. It won't get any worse, okay? So basically they know exactly what they're getting themselves into, and they get in at a low price point, a much lower price point that they would get in after the law is approved and published, if the law is indeed approved with the wording that was made public and was presented by the Parliament, because the entry point will be 500 instead of 280 like we have today. So I think that not only should people take opportunity and invest right now if they're interested, they really should, because even from a financial point of view, this is a very wise decision, the way that we see it.
So assuming that the clients, all the investors have enough money ready to transfer the fund to the projects, and they already have the criminal record on hand. So what you're saying is IAS can take about 1 week for the submission?
Exactly. So tax IDs are taking about 24 hours to be issued, with a direct transfer option directly to the project's bank account. It should be between 1 week and 10 days until submission. We are doing deeds 3 days a week on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, just to guarantee that everyone can, from 1 week to the other, basically have their deed and be submitted. And upon the deed, with the documents, we submit clients within the next 24 hours. Okay, so 7 to 10 days is the average deadline that right now we are implementing for all new clients, with the documents ready, and of course with the funds available to do the investment.
Thanks for letting us know that IAS can complete the work in the shortest times, and really appreciate that July and August are holidays months in Europe. However, all the lawyers do put a lot of effort in submitting the applications within a short time before the deadline.
Exactly. It's only holidays for the presidents, not for the president and for the politicians, not for us.
It's great to hear that. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about after the deadline. This is also a major concern among people who worry, or they might miss the deadline. So what options remain if people still want to invest in the Golden Visa program? Like, would there be any other option to continue investing with Mercan under the Golden Visa program?
Well,
let's say
regarding Mercan, I will let Mercan respond. Regarding the law that was presented, yes, like I said, the Golden Visa program did not end. Investment funds and other type of venture capital instruments will still be allowed. So what we'll have is a higher entry point. So in terms of the law, yes, the program is alive, a bit more, will be alive, a little bit more expensive, but the rules are still the same, the documents are still the same, so the possibility of investing, yes, it's alive and well. Like I said, regarding Mercan, I will let Mercan, the representatives of Mercan respond.
I will come back with Mercan on that questions later.
Okay.
Okay, thanks Ines for sharing the opinions with us on the legal side of the Golden Visa. Now let's move on with Mercan offering and what we have for you in this webinar. Jordi, the president of Mercan Properties, will give you a brief review about Mercan operations and our total access as of today in Portugal, following by Jerry, the founder and the CEO of Mercan Group, and he will also present to us on valuable project offerings so you can choose which option suits you the best this time. So I'll let Jordi to present a little bit about Mercan in Portugal.
Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you, Ines, for a very clear presentation. So we have been in Portugal since 2016, and with the opportunities coming up that Ines has mentioned and Jerry will be expanding on, we plan to be here in Portugal at least the same number of years as we have been in business since 1989 when the company was founded. So and how we became the first developer, the first hospitality developer in Portugal. So there's three things. The first one is trust. So we are privileged to have over 3,000 investors that have trusted us since 2016. And actually, especially in the past 6 months and going forward, these investors, they know that if for whatever reason the file is not submitted after the investment, they'll get the money back. So that's the kind of trust that we have from our investors, not only today, but in the past years, and we expect to have that in the future. And the second component of trust is the team that we have here in Portugal with over 400 people between Mercan and the hotels and the structure that we have. Next, please. And that's the second reason for our success in Portugal. The structure that we have with, as I said, the development team, and then our partnership with EAS, which today is the largest legal service provider in a number of areas, including obviously the Golden Visa. And the third leg, the third pillar of the group here in Portugal, AHM, which is probably the most successful hotel management company, multi-brand in Portugal. Yes, multi-brand, meaning that AHM probably is the company that in Portugal is managing a more diverse number of international brands with the Mercan properties. Jerry will be talking about that, which includes Marriott, Hilton, Hard Rock, IAG, and Wyndham. Next, please. And the third reason of Mercan investing in Portugal has to do with both hospitality and the quality of life. When we talk about hospitality, we're talking about, of course, figures today that are higher than in 2019. But there's a particular factor that has made Portugal unique from a hospitality point of view. For the first time, North American visitors have become the highest or the largest growing nationality in visiting Portugal in terms of percentage. This had not happened before. So hospitality definitely is the third reason why Portugal is definitely the choice today and in the future. And I will not finish my presentation without talking, which is the last slide, about the quality of life. So why Portugal? So today we have a unique exposure to free healthcare, free education, political stability, and of course, the reason why we are here, which is a very powerful passport. And obviously the underlying reason for being a very powerful passport is that it's one of the safest countries in the world. So now I'll let Jerry expand on the great opportunities that the Mercan Group has to offer here in Portugal.
Thank you, Jordi, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I'd just like to start with an introductory slide which outlines the various projects that we're involved in. And 90% of these projects, which total 1.2 billion, are either open or well underway in terms of construction, with the other ones starting construction by the end of the year. So we really have a strong construction and development team and operational team as well. So we have the full service in terms of development. Now, today, I will talk to you about 3 projects that we have available for sale. 2 of them are at, actually one at 280,000, one at 350,000, and one at 400,000. The first project we'll talk about is the 4-star Marriott Hotel located in Funchal, Madeira. Madeira itself is a very popular tourist destination. In fact, its occupancy rates are even higher than Algarve. It's an island resort with warm temperatures throughout the year. The hotel we have in front of you is a landmark from 1841 in Funchal, which is the major city in Madeira. And this hotel is right in the main square for the city, and it overlooks the port and the terminal, the main terminal. So it's ideally located as probably one of the best locations you could have in the city. Again, you can see the ocean in the background. This hotel is a 350,000 investment, and it's for 120 investors. The hotel itself will be a 4-star hotel with 78 rooms. And I will note, it's an existing building that needs to be renovated. So what you see there is what is there now. So as you can see, just in the bottom right-hand corner, this is the main square in the city. In the map, you can see again, you have the harbor, the yacht club area is right in front of the hotel. The airport is 23 minutes by car. It's an international airport, and you have the main city surrounding the hotel. So you're in the ideal location. Again, the Madeira Islands are a beautiful set of islands, very famous for clear scenic water, and the landscape around is very popular. The tourism is very popular in that location. Landmarks in the area, you have the Labrador Street Market is nearby. You have typical houses of Santana. Very famous botanical garden is nearby. And they have the Madeira cable car is 12 minutes by walking. But the area itself is very popular for tourism, and it's popular year-round. It's not a seasonal resort. It's a 12-month-a-year resort. The itself is based, as I mentioned, this is a historic building right in the main square. As you can see, it's from 1841. This was a very important building culturally in the city, and it's a landmark. So the city itself is very happy that we're going to be converting this into a 4-star hotel. This is your lobby area, your rooms. Your bar and restaurant will be located here. As I mentioned, this is for 120 investors. It's 350,000 each. We pay your IMT, your VAT is included. You get 3% per year payable upon the opening of the hotel, and you get 1 free week per year. So it's a great project in terms of the 350 guidelines. And of course, it's a Marriott. Our second project is at the 280,000 level, and this is located in Alvor. Alvor is in the Algarve. And Alvor is actually a sub-city in Portimao, which is the second largest city in Algarve. So you have a great location in terms of you have plenty of local population to support the resort, and you're located also with walking distance to the beach. Direct access to the beach, I might add. And this particular location is very nice. This will be a 5-star Hilton resort. And with the 5-star, you have all your amenities that go with it. And here's an overview of the resort. As you can see, you're right walking directly to the beach, which is nearby. So it's a fantastic location. This will be a 5-star property. So you'll have all-day dining, you'll have specialty restaurants, you'll have a number of different swimming pools. There'll be rooftop bars, lobby bars. You're going to have a spa in the resort. You're going to have indoor swimming pool. You have a kids area. You have meeting rooms and business center, paddle courts, and mini golf. So it'll be a full resort that will be a 5-star. And this is for 360 investors. The investment is 280,000 euros, which is your lowest price point. With this, we'll pay all your taxes, your IMT and your VAT. You get 1 free week per year. And the hotel will be 193 rooms. Next. Here's an overview of the resort, how it's going to look. And here's another view of the resort as it sits in its particular, in the background here. The location itself is in Alvor, which is right in this, as part of the city of Portimao. The Alvor beach, as you can see in front of you, is a fabulous beach, very popular, very good, clean water, and a great resort location. As you can see, the brown circle is the resort, the 5-star resort. As you can see, you have the Portimao in the background, and the airport itself is around 50 minutes by car, international airport. Landmarks near the hotel, you have the famous Tres Hermanos Beach. You have Morobitas, which is a historical location. You have the Alvor Riverside. And of course, you have the historical center of Portimao. The area is very famous. It's rich in culture and history. There's a lot of historic buildings located nearby. It's quite famous for its festivities and music. And the gastronomy and wine located in the region is also very famous. And you have a lot of natural beauty and environment located nearby. The project itself is a 5-star resort. You're going to have 193 5-star rooms. As I mentioned, you're going to have restaurants, spas, gym, kids clubs, mini golf, and a number of swimming pools. Here's your lobby area. Here's your swimming pool. It'll be a very large swimming pool, one of many. Your bar and restaurants. Your rooms will be 5-star rooms, and some will have individual swimming pools. Now, the investment itself is 280,000 euros. It's for 360 investors. The investment itself offers no return, but we do pay all your taxes, your IMT and your VAT. You get 1 free week per year, and you have the guaranteed buyback at the end. All our projects will have the guaranteed buyback at the end. And you get 7 free days per year. Now, we offered a new project, a phase 3 in the Hard Rock Resort, which is a unique offering. Originally, we were going to do branded apartments, but with the change of the rules, we decided to expand the hotel to add more hotel rooms. So with the expansion, the whole resort will now be 435 rooms, 3 restaurants, and 3 swimming pools. So it'll be pretty much what we envisioned before, but instead of individual ownership, it'll continue with cooperative ownership. This project is for 150 investors, and the investment amount is 400,000 each. The location itself, Portimao, is the second largest city in Algarve. Very popular tourist destination and very many beautiful beaches nearby. Nearby, as I mentioned, you have the Val Beach, the Beniguil Caves. You also have the International Car Racing Circuit, and you have the Portimao Marina, and of course, you have the famous Portimao Museum nearby. Here's an overview of the city of Portimao. As you can see, there's vast beaches there. You also have the yacht club. So if you look at the overall area, it's really quite serene and quite beautiful. The resort itself is right on the beach with beach access. Project concept is, this is a hard rock resort, which is a 5-star resort. And the initial 2 phases are already sold out. So this is just an initial phase that will go as part of the overall Hard Rock 5-star resort. And of course, it has everything. You have your 3 outdoor swimming pools, you have your gym, your spa, your kids club, and your exclusive private beach club, which will have all kinds of entertainment facilities. And here's an overview of the resort. As you can see, the first part on your left is the hotel itself. The second part will be the expansion. And then front, you'll see the entertainment and beach club areas. Here's your lobby area. Your bar and restaurant. Your rooms, which will all be 5-star rooms. Here's another one of the outdoor pools. Here's an overview of the overall project. Your spa and gym. And as I mentioned, Hard Rock always has a beach club with an entertainment facilities where people can enjoy the beach and have some entertainment. So this is a very important part of the project as well. Now, in terms of the investment, as I mentioned, the first 2 phases, which is the larger part of the project, have already been fully subscribed. So it's already been sold out. And this is just an addition to that. This is for 150 investors. You pay $400,000 each. Now, what you do is we paid your IMT and your VAT, but what you do is you get a return of 4% per year, plus payable upon the opening of the hotel and payable each year as long as you own your unit. You have the guaranteed buyback at the end, plus you get 7 days free per year, plus an additional 7 days per year that you can use at any one of the Mercan resorts. So it's a little bit more money, but you're getting a lot more benefits. So sometimes our investors say they really want more sometimes, and that's why we put the project together in this manner. Now, I'll just talk briefly about our track record in Portugal. Normally, it used to be not so many hotels, and now it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, so we have more to say about it. So on this first slide, these are 4 hotels that are already operating. One is a 5-star VNet by IHG in Porto. Then you have a boutique hotel in Casa Lirias. This particular area is famous for green wine. Then we have a 4-star Hilton hotel, which is right beside the Cathedral in downtown Porto. And then we have a 4-star Sheraton 4 Points that is in Montesinos, and this is the beach region of Porto. And this hotel is 1 block from the main beach. Then also open, the first one is a Wyndham Hotel, which is on Santa Catarina Street, which is a famous shopping street in Porto. Then we have the Arts Hotel, which is in the historical area of Porto. This is a Hilton hotel, also open. Then we have the 5-star Marriott Renaissance Hotel in the historic area of Porto, this will be the largest hotel and convention center in the city of Porto. Finally, we have the first hotel that we opened in the city of Evora, which is about an hour and 15 minutes from Lisbon, and this is a Hilton Garden Inn. Then on the Gaia, this is a Marriott hotel overlooking the UNESCO Heritage Site of Porto. This is under construction now. Then we have the Porto Art Suites, which will also be a Hilton, just starting construction. Then in Porto, we have a Holiday Inn Express. This will be opening this year in downtown Porto. Then we have another Holiday Inn, which will be opening in the first quarter of next year in Evora. It's our second property in Evora. Then we have our 5-star Marriott Resort in Lagos. Construction on this property will start in October of this year. Then we have a Moxie Lisboa Park. This is already on construction in Lisbon. Then down in Lagos, we have 2 Hilton hotels, a 4-star and a 5-star. This will start construction in September of this year. And then we added an expansion to the Marriott Renaissance, and this will start construction in September. So this will add to the existing 5-star resort in Porto. Then we have a DoubleTree hotel. This will be at the airport of Lisbon, which is under service. This hotel is already under construction. Then in Faro, which is really the capital of Algarve and holds the international airport, this project is right in the heart of the central district, and this will start construction in September. Then we have in Santo Andre, which is about an hour from Lisbon, also a Hilton hotel, and this hotel has just started construction. Then we have a Holiday Inn in a city called Beja, which is in the interior near the wine region. This hotel is under construction and will open this year. Then we have a 4-star hotel in downtown Lisbon. This hotel will start construction in the fall. Then, of course, we have the Hard Rock Resort, construction starting at the end of this year. Then we have a 5-star Marriott that will be starting construction in the fall. This is right in the heart of the historic district in Lisbon. And I talked to you already about the Madeira 4-star Marriott. And then we have the 5-star Hilton in Alvor. And finally, we have the final addition to the Hard Rock Resort. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Jerry and Jordi, for updating all the investor available options to invest now. So with 3 combined projects, it is more than 600 units. Will Mercan be confident that all can be submitted on time? I guess I will start with Jerry giving us some ideas about that. So what if Mercan do not call for enough investors in a particular project?
Well, so far, our biggest issue has been having enough product. Unfortunately, you know, we're met with a situation that we have to manage our development responsibly. And unfortunately, with the government changing directions so frequently, we can't bring on more product responsibly onto the market. So we have to, at some point in time, unfortunately, oversell our projects because we have to make sure nobody's left behind in terms of a project being incomplete. So in terms of our inventory, we have Alvor right now. Just with new people that have signed up in the last week, it's over 150. Plus we have probably 200 people that have already indicated they want a project and were part of a previous project, but weren't able to transfer in time. So technically speaking, we're close to selling that project out. And we have we see no issue that will, in fact, it should be completed before the end of August. So that's that project. In terms of the Madeira, geez, demand for that's so high. We have sold half of it already. I expect that it should be done probably the next 2 to 3 weeks. 2 weeks. In terms of Hard Rock, well, Hard Rock was a very popular project. Unfortunately, we just didn't have enough units at that price. We brought on these additional units just because a lot of people asked us, we'd like to get a higher return. So we feel that this will fill a part of the market that some people have been looking for. So selling these products out, I see no hesitation at all. But keep in mind, we've updated our guarantee letter. If for any reason you're unable to get your Golden Visa card because of the change in the rules, we will buy back your investment. And I think we need to compliment IAS and their team, because they're able to turn around a case so quickly that your risk factor is so small. And as we get closer to the end, we will be able to receive a deed and get it filed within 24 hours to minimize that risk. So nobody will be caught, but we'll still have our guarantee. And one very important point Ines mentioned today, even if the law is signed, it still will take 3 to 5 days to come into force. So there will be plenty of time for everybody that wants to be filed to be filed.
Thank you, Jerry, for answering this question, because I see many people are asking the same question. So I hope that Jerry's answer will please you. So I'll come to the next question for Jordi. Someone from our Nomad investors sent us the questions asking about the project in Madeira. I guess this is quite particular questions. Why Mercan decides to do a project in Madeira? Maybe you could share with us some information about the hotel business overall there, or the occupancy rate out there.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. And so there's two things which are very important. One, all the international brands have a real interest in us doing a project in Madeira, because they see the potential, but so far there hasn't been any international brand over there. And the second very important thing was the government of Madeira itself. They were asking Mercan to be active with our investments and with Golden Visa in Madeira, because we are all across the country, but we're not in the islands. So that's the second reason why it was so appealing for Mercan to be there. First, the brands, and then the government of Madeira itself, which was enticing us to be there. And so we're very proud to have a landmark. We waited to have a landmark, as Jerry mentioned, a building that is really recognized by the population of Madeira, building built in 1841.
Thank you, Jordi. So I guess everyone's will be very interested in doing these projects in Madeira, because this will be exciting as we are bringing the new atmosphere, the new name for Madeira's hotel business with American brands on that, right? So next questions, Jerry. I'm seeing that several people still asking about the buyback, especially in these situations. One of the questions particularly say that I'm concerning if the Golden Visa for investing in commercial projects for residency is going to an end. It also means the investor money is going to stop coming in after the new law comes into effective for these projects. Under this backdrop, how will Mercan handle the funds? Have these funds to fulfill property buybacks after 6 years if no more new investor money comes in on commercial projects after this new law come in effect? I guess this question is all about the buyback and how Mercan can be able to buy back the investment after 6 year time.
Well, first off, I think the questions, we don't mix our money. Each project is separate and the funds in each project are kept separately. So we don't need any new money coming in will only be used for that project. So you cannot use other projects' money in a buyback of another project. So and we do that specifically to protect our investors. Each project is set aside separately. But what we do is normally when people invest in real estate, they tend to take on too much debt, and that's when they run into trouble. All our projects run on 100% equity. And when you run with 100% equity, your cash flows are significantly higher. So all the profits that are generated in a project are set aside into a fund to buy back investors. By year 7, when the first buyback occurs, we've accumulated 50% of the funds to buy back investors. Now, not everybody will cash out at the same time for a number of different reasons. But if for any time the demand for a buyback would exceed the funds available, because we have no debt on our project at all, it's very easy to access lines of credit or other debt instruments to cover any shortfalls that we may have. So we're generally overcapitalizing the front end to leave room for leverage at the back end. Now, Mercan, as a corporate company, we only make our money buying back investors. Now, if we failed to buy back just one investor, we would be in default. Being in default, we would lose access to all that equity that we built up over those 7 years. So that's where the head office will come in with our own capital to ensure that the buyback takes place, because we don't want to lose the equity that we built up in a project. So we have the same interests as our investors. We're all looking for the same conclusion.
Thank you, Jerry, for your answer. It's actually the same questions has been asked for when we have the webinar about Mercan projects, but then people still want your information and your confirmation on the buyback way.
No problem.
Anyway, let's come to the next questions that we have. So just like 5 minutes ago, Jerry mentioned that we do have, Mercan has a type of guarantee buyback letter, just in case any worst scenario happen. So what if we just complete the deed with Mercan? I mean, in this case, the investor, that they just complete the deed with Mercan, and then suddenly the president signs the bill. What can be done in this situation, Jordi? Maybe you can explain more information in this case.
Yeah, maybe Ines, since there's a real legal component there, I will suggest to Ines to get into a more technical legal answer, because I think that will provide more clarity to the investors. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. So although I understand that this is a question where theoretically this could happen, in practice, it's a very, very, very unlikely scenario. So like I began explaining, the bill will not just be published from one day to the other. So there's always some notice. The bill is sent to Parliament and so on. So indeed, we will know with some days that the bill is going to be published. And of course, if there's no time to submit the client, the deed will never be made, be prepared to start with, and will never be executed, because then the client would keep the property but wouldn't be able to do the investment. In the unlikely event that this happens, Mercan's side letter, as was mentioned, states that the investor is entitled to receive a refund unless the deed was made and by some reason the investment was not, the submission was not made based on the decision of an investor. But let's imagine an unlikely scenario that we do a deed, we execute a deed today, and the law comes into force today, end of day, and we are not able to submit the client, and the client is entitled to receive his money back, his investment back, since by no fault of his, it was not possible to submit his application based on the coming into force of a law that then ended up that specific way of investing in the Golden Visa program, or path of investing in the Golden Visa program.
Thank you, Ines, for your explanation. And since you are with me right now, I would like to keep you for some minutes for answering some more questions about the processing time, because I'm seeing so many people asking you the questions. So I will pick several ones. So one of the questions asks about the submission time. Are we in the program after the submission of the application or the pre-approval from DSAF? Is there a chance of law change before we get our pre-approval? And does that affect our investment?
Yes, so the client, the investor is considered in the submitted in the program, grandfathered in the program on the date of the submission and the payment of the submission fee. Okay, so once an investor is submitted, a notice for payment is issued that has a deadline to be paid, and as long as it's paid on within that deadline, the client, the investor, is considered submitted on the date of the submission. Okay, so this allows us to submit investors if needed. We hope that won't be the case, but if needed, even until the last minutes of the law coming into force. This was the case of a lot of people that invested in residential at the end of December 2021. So a lot of people ended up being submitted on December 31st, and they paid their notices and they are considered validly submitted, even if at midnight and 1 of January 1st, 2022, the program no longer admitted submissions based on residential acquisitions in the vast majority of the Portuguese territory, as we know. So it's exactly the same thing. The important point is being submitted before the end of the or the coming into force of the new law, should that path of investment be disregarded as a way to invest in the program in Portugal after the coming into force of the law.
And which means that we just need the application of the investor, and
Exactly.
the application of the family member, we can do it later, right?
Yes, because as I also explained, the law that regulates the RE program is not the same law as the one that regulates joining family members into any kind of visa. Okay, that law didn't suffer any amendment, that legislation didn't suffer any amendment, so it stays the same. At any point in the process, let's imagine there's a new child, if it's a couple, or if someone gets married, they want to include their spouses, even after the program changes, if the program changes, people are still allowed to include their family members in the application, because like I said, the law that is being amended is not the same one as the law that relates to family members being part of the process regarding visas.
Thank you, Ines. Very clear explanations. I'll coming back to Jerry for one of the last questions that we will have for today. After the end of the golden visa for real estate category, let's say, which routes Mercan will take for the company future in Portugal?
Well, in many respects, one of the positive things that come out of the bill is that the government has announced their intention to keep the golden visa program. That's a very positive step. They also announced other avenues of investment, and one possibly is in the fund areas. Mercan, Mercan itself, we're in the business for long term. We have no intention of of leaving the business. So we're working with our development team, our lawyers, our advisors, to put together product that will qualify under the new program. We will have interesting things, but unfortunately, the price will be at 500,000. So I think one thing we should take from this is that one of the key aspects is this is a price increase. So people interested will still have access to the golden visa program, but you're going to be looking at 500,000. So if you are interested, I can just encourage people better to get in at 280,000 or 350,000 or even 400,000 versus a price of 500,000. So I think that's a concept people should look at carefully.
Thank you, Jerry, for your sharing. And thank you again, Jerry, Jody, and Ines for sharing all your views with the audiences today. With the full support from IAS and Mercan, we hope we can submit your own visa application within a record time and be able to secure your slot before the president signs and publish a new law. I hope this webinar helps to answer your concern about the submission time. And now, since you already have all the project options from us, so feel free to email me and request the information of the project you choose to proceed the application with Mercan. We hope we can all beat this deadline successfully together. And thanks for having your time with us, and we shall say goodbye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.